Citrinne Sniper. Is it a good build? This is a build that was recommended to me by an LTCer, so I'm going to be trying it out throughout a Maddening run. Now I'm going to be playing the game normally, quote-unquote normally, but we'll see how this performs. Radiant Bow is a pretty strong weapon, so I can see it being pretty good on a unit that has good magic growth. Now Citrinne's base magic is pretty decent. On Sniper she doesn't have the highest magic, but we'll see how this performs. So she starts out at 10 magic, which is decent, and she can deal decent damage to enemies she doesn't double. She does have low speed, so doubling even armors is going to be a problem, but she should hit really hard against armors and against flyers, of course. The might on the Radiant Bow is really high, so when you shoot a flyer, it actually scales the damage based on the might rather than the actual magic attack, so that's one unique thing about the Radiant Bow. So she basically will be really good at killing flyers and certain enemies, and we'll see how to build her long term. So I was able to find an enemy that's slow enough for her to double, and she does one round this armor, which isn't bad. Now this is a Hurricane Axe enemy, so it's not like the biggest threat they have, though it could hit some of my armors, but her being able to one round something early on isn't bad, so we'll give it to her. I think long term she's going to be running Lin, so doubling shouldn't be a problem for her. She would be a good Lin user because you can Radiant Bow Astral Storm, which should be huge damage. So let's check this out. Behold its radiant glory. Alright, she does look really cool in this. I'll give her that. Let's see how the Citrinne Sniper is doing. So right now, I give her Spirit Dust. She's on base Radiant Bow. She's dealing good amount of damage to Risotto. 22 damage, that's not bad. He has anti-flyer weakness, passive, being a boss, and then against an actual flyer, she's dealing 56, which is pretty decent, so she can still one-shot flyers. Now if she were to attack this enemy, she would not double him, so she wouldn't be able to double this armor. That may be a problem later on, unless she has Lin. I mean, if I put Lid on her, she might be able to double armors, and in which case she could just one round, like one-shot flyers, double armors, so she'd still be kind of useful, and she could still deal pretty good chip damage. You know, 50% of a boss's health isn't bad. So far this seems to be working out pretty well. So here is where Citrinne is at in Chapter 11. She can deal pretty good base damage to enemies. She's not doubling most things, which is fine. She doesn't have an emblem ring or passives or anything. She is one-shotting flyers, though, as you would expect on Radiant Bow. Now, this Warrior Anna would be performing similarly. She's only slightly lower magic at this point. So 13, so that's with +1. I also gave her a Spirit Dust, so really she's like base 10 magic, and Anna would be base 6. And also Citrinne is a higher level. So right now she's like level 13, 14, Anna's like level 11. So she's doing okay. Alright, I think I have to call it. I don't think this is that good of a build. I don't think this works. Citrinne on Radiant Bow. Honestly, I think Fagato is just effortlessly better doing this. And even with all the advantages in the world, just feels like really subpar. The only thing it can really do is kind of snipe some enemies at range and one-round flyers, which is never really a problem. But look at how many... She's +8 speed right now. Her base value... she's +8 speed, and the weapon is so heavy because her build is so low that she has no speed. So, like, here's her fighting the boss, for example. She gets one shot. She doesn't even deal that good of damage. So there's... Honestly, I feel like this build is not that good. I think Warrior Anna is, like, similar in terms of overall effectiveness. And the only difference is that you have slightly higher magic. Now this is with her she's been given a Spirit Dust. So like she would really be 33 and Anna would be 29, and Anna's lower level. So I don't really think the Citrinne Sniper is working out. I'll continue trying it, but it doesn't seem to be popping off at all. Dang dude, tanks suck. The other problem I'm finding with this build is that she gets doubled by everything. So like if she goes to attack something, like she has Speed Taker right now and Lin Ring. Now her bond level is only 4, but she shouldn't, like, she's getting speed that she wouldn't have otherwise, and if she goes and attacks this axe unit, she's gonna get killed by the enemy archer in the next turn. because her speed is so low. If she was Fogato's like 20 speed, he would easily be able to kill this and then tank that and kill it on counter, like on enemy phase, counter attack. So like I feel like she is just worse than Fogato in every way. You just put him on Cupido and he just kills things. You can just throw a Radiant Bow on him and get the same results, but better. He has higher build, higher speed, and his magic stat will be like 8 or 9 or something, which is good enough to one round on Radiant Bow most enemies, so I don't know, I don't see it. Okay, it's time to call it. Just like in No Country for Old Men, we're about to flip a coin and call it. And I'm calling that this is a bad build. Now, there is a niche use case where you can one-round some enemies with Radiant Bow and Lyn. However, there are other builds that can one-round enemies, including bosses at range with Lyn. There's strength-based builds on units like Panette, for example, who could one-round enemies on Mulagir. So, in terms of this uniquely doing something interesting that's worth taking Lyn away from someone else, I don't think it's there. Also, so keep in mind, she's magic 13 with a Spirit Dust, so she's really 11 magic. Now let me look at, all right, so remember these stats. All right, so 11 magic, that's her true magic without Spirit Dust, 5 build, and then her speed value is 11, okay? 5 build, 11 magic, 11 speed. All right, pretty easy to remember. All right, so now let's go look at Ivy. So let's say we want to change Ivy into this exact build for 0 investment early on. So Ivy has 1 less point of magic, so 10 versus 11 magic. She has 2 more points of build, so that's +2 speed, because the Radiant Bow is very heavy. She also has base 15 speed, also known as 4 more speed. So she is 6 speed faster at base over Citrinne with 1 less point of magic, and the only difference between them in terms of magic is Citrinne has 10% more magic growth. That is negligible considering how easy it is how much easier it would be to get Ivy into doubling thresholds. Now that being said, if we look at the other growth rates, so Citrinne has 5% build, so she's very, like on fixed growth, it's going to take her 20 level ups before you see a point of build increase, which is very unfortunate, and she also only has 30% speed. Now compare that to Ivy's 10% build growth, so every 10 level ups, Ivy gets a point of build, so she will quickly hit 8 base build on this class to reduce the weight of Radiant Bow that much more. She also has 40% speed versus Citrinne's 30. So not only is her base build and speed and build higher, but she also has 10% more speed and 5% more build, which over time seriously matters, especially when you're wielding heavy weapons. The 10% difference in magic is negligible. You're talking about 1 point of magic, and then to begin with, of a difference in bases, and then you're talking about 2 to 3 points of magic throughout an entire run, versus way higher build, better build growth, higher speed growth. So Ivy would just perform this better, but honestly I don't even think it's, like, unless you're doing some specific thing where this makes sense, I don't think it's like the best build. Also, we have to talk about Fogato, who also is a good unit for a build like this. So let me go to him. Oh no, he died on this playthrough. I let him die in this playthrough. I'm sorry. I let him die in this playthrough. Actually, let's check out Pandreo. I'm curious to see what he would look like on Sniper. I think his base magic isn't that high, though. Let's see. 9. But look at that build and speed, though. He's 2 points of magic less, but he's got 9 build and 17 speed, and he's way faster and has higher build than what's her face, Citrinne. So the other mages just do this better, straight up. And then Anna could potentially do it better. Let's see. Her magic is low right now. Yeah, she's at 7 magic, so she would need to level up, and eventually she would get more magic points because she has 10% more growth. She might eventually catch up, it's hard to say. But yeah, I don't think this build really makes sense. I think the weight of the weapon is weight. Look at how many advantages I've given Citrinne. Speed +3, bond level 9 Lyn, so she's speed +6, and she has speed taker, and her speed is still 10. The weapon is just too heavy for her. She's not going to be able to double anything except for armors, which every mage in the game can easily kill, and there's no standout feature of this build that justifies its existence outside of if you like Citrinne. There's other units that could run this specific build better. Fogato would also do this better. Fogato has decent enough magic on Cupido that he could use Radiant Bow, but he also has better build and build growth, better base speed and speed growth. So he does this exact niche, but better. He just doesn't have the Lyn range, but he doesn't even need Lyn. so he frees Lynn up, whereas this takes Lynn from other units. Honestly, I'm probably going to drop her from my team. She's a liability. She gets killed easily. The niche of one-rounding certain enemies at range with Radiant Bow can be achieved by other units, and it doesn't really add enough value unless you're doing some specific strategy where this makes sense, which I'm skeptical of, because like Ivy is 1 point of magic less than Citrinne with better speed and better build. And I think she even has more health. Hold on, let's check out her health. So 30 health on Citrinne, and this is base Ivy too. This is an Ivy that hasn't gotten, she got like a little bit of XP and hasn't leveled up at all. Yeah, she has 4 more health. 22 dex are what's Citrinne's dex. And this is a Citrinne that's leveled up a few times too, keep in mind. So her dex, 22. So she's less dex and health. Dude, she's just statistically worse than Ivy in every stat aside from +1 magic. So her being fed kills throughout the entire early to beginning of middle game and getting kills versus Ivy at base, it's just not even comparable. So unfortunately, this build, it does not get my seal of approval, and I don't see the use case. But I do appreciate the player who recommended trying it. If you feel like I'm wrong about something, definitely provide counter arguments. Maybe you're supposed to keep her on Sage for a while, but that's a huge investment. You could do that with Ivy too. So it's like, you could do all of that with another unit. It should just be statistically better. If anyone else wants to suggest a cool or interesting build for me to try, I'm open to it. I'm going to be doing a bunch of like fresh save runs where I just try out builds and openings and different things like that. But aside from that, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.